Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be learning to paint this beautiful chocolate cupcake using gouache. So the first step is going to be to draw out your cupcake. You could use your own style in making that, or you can just follow the way that I'm making it. And you make sure that you use a 300 GSM paper for making anything related with gouache. Once you've drawn it out, you can use a kneaded eraser and you can make it extremely light by just rubbing the eraser over it. Here I'm not really making it very light so that you can see it on the camera. The first thing that I'm going to do is mix a very beautiful pink color, which is almost like a bubblegum pink. So I am taking carmine, or you could take a rose and then mix some white with it and you will get a very beautiful pink. And I'm using that color to be my background for this particular painting. You can use gouache in multiple ways. You can use it very watery like watercolors, or you could also use it extremely creamy. When I say creamy, the texture would be almost like toothpaste or like melted ice cream, and that's how you can use it as well. Now I like using gouache in multiple ways, which is why for the backgrounds I normally like to create a slightly watery texture. It looks like this when it's dried, and I am quite happy with the end result. Let's now mix a nice minty green for the icing, and let's color the icing with that. Once this icing is ready, I'm going to now mix a little bit of black and brown to create a dark brown color. In case you have already a dark brown, which is like a burnt umber or an umber in your palette, you could use that. It's always a nice idea to mix your colors. For this, I'm not going to be mixing a lot of white yet. Instead, I'm going to be adding some yellow ochre and also some burnt sienna. So I have noticed that if you add a little bit of white along with your brown, the color may or may not turn out to be very happy to look at, which is why I tend to mix a couple of colors, especially yellow ochre, to give it a really happy final feel of it. I think just the process of filling in the colors after you make a gouache drawing is very therapeutic. It feels really nice, and all you need to do is just have like the entire nice setup done. You could have some candles around you, you could listen to some soothing music, maybe some lo-fi beats, and you can just go about making your painting. Now that the cake part is over, I'm going to mix some dark green for the mint leaf which I have added on top, and then we'll also mix some dark brown after that to add for the cupcake liner at the bottom. In this style, I'm not going to be adding any dark or light shadow. There's not going to be the play of light over here. But in case you like that, you can go ahead and create multiple layers on top. You could use the play of white and do some merging and create those multiple layers and create some shadow effect as well. Another interesting thing about gouache is when it dries, it will all dry very solid. You will not be able to see the brush marks of the bottom liner. You will notice that even with the background pink, that dried out really well. It dried out pretty solid. Of course, if you're going to be adding a little more color on one side, little less on the other side, it is not going to dry out the same, but in general, for most cases, it dries out pretty nicely. I'm adding another layer of brown before I move on to creating smaller details such as a little darker green around the icing and also around the leaf to make it stand out a little more. So going with the flow of the contrast color like we use for the icing over here, we've used a darker shade to add a little bit of pump to the entire thing. We're going to use a slightly lighter shade for our cupcake liner to create some lines at the bottom on top of it. Looks beautiful now that the cupcake liner details have been added. So we're going to go one more step, and for the leaf which is there on top, we're going to use a lighter green to add in the veins. I'm going to use a similar color to add one more line next to these lines which we have used to create the bold lines on the icing. So what these double lines do is they help to create a very subtle contrast, so it's not too strong on the eye. So this is what the final cupcake looks like. I hope you had fun watching this tutorial, and if you're going to recreate it, don't forget to tag me on Instagram so I can have a look at it. Thank you.